Welcome back to CIA Declassified. December 17th, 1981, Verona, Italy. Four men dressed as plumbers enter the apartment of Brigadier General James Dozier, the highest-ranking American official in NATO's Southern European Command. Within minutes, the general is beaten, stuffed into a trunk, and driven away. The kidnappers, the Red Brigades, a radical Marxist-Leninist terrorist organization known for their brutal kneecappings and the murder of former Italian Prime Minister Aldo Moro. The Italian police and the CIA were blind. For weeks they chased ghosts across the Italian peninsula. With the life of a general hanging in the balance, the Pentagon made a call to a nondescript wooden building at Fort Meade, Maryland. They called for the viewers. The mission given to the remote viewers was a needle in a haystack. Find the general. Viewer number 001, Joe McMoneagle, was tasked with the search. Using only the general's name and a photograph, McMoneagle entered a deep trance state. He didn't just see a face, he saw a map. A quote from a declassified session log, Project 8105. I see a city, not Verona, a different city. It feels like Padova. I'm looking at a building. It's a multi-story apartment block. There is a supermarket on the ground floor. The general is on the second floor. I see a small window. He is being held behind a blue plastic curtain. End quote. At the time of this session, Italian authorities were focusing their search hundreds of miles away. McMoneagle's insistence on the city of Padova was viewed with skepticism by some, but the detail of the supermarket on the ground floor was recorded in official Army intelligence logs weeks before the rescue. The code name for the military's support of the search was Winter Harvest. While the public narrative focuses on the heroic Italian NOCS raid, the declassified grill flame records show that viewers were producing dozens of sketches of the interior of the apartment, including the specific placement of a radiator that Dozier was chained to during his 42 days of captivity. A quote from Captain Fred Skip Atwater. We were working in a vacuum. The intelligence from the field was nil. When Joe came up with the Padova, it was the first specific lead we had that didn't involve checking every basement in northern Italy. It gave the analyst a focal point. End quote. There is a long-standing rumor within the remote viewing community that a second viewer working independently described a white van with a specific logo parked outside the building. Speculation suggests that the CIA used this psychic detail to filter satellite imagery from the KH-11 Kinnan reconnaissance satellites, allowing them to spot the kidnappers' vehicle in a crowded urban environment before the Italian police were even notified. The psychic data wasn't just geographical, it was psychological. Viewers reported that the general was angry but healthy and that he was being kept in a tent within a room. Upon his rescue, it was confirmed that the Red Brigades had indeed constructed a small soundproof fabric enclosure inside the apartment to keep Dozier's location hidden from the neighbors. Military insiders speculate that the redactions regarding the initial source of the Padova lead were hidden to protect the fact that the CIA had a high-ranking mole inside the Italian Ministry of Interior. This theory suggests that the remote viewing was used as a blue wash, a way to introduce information into a case file that actually came from an illegal or sensitive human source, making the psychic data the official origin of the lead to protect the spy. A quote from Ingo Swann. The Dozier case proved that the signal can survive the noise of a high-stress international incident. We weren't just looking for a person, we were looking for a location through the eyes of a captive. It was the ultimate test of the targeting protocol. End quote. Following the rescue, General Dozier was debriefed about his captors' habits. He mentioned they often played loud music to mask any noise. Interestingly, during the remote viewing sessions at Fort Meade, one viewer had complained of a headache caused by rhythmic thumping sounds in the target area, which analysts later correlated to the kidnappers' use of a radio to drown out the general's movements. In the declassified document CIA RDP 96007888R00050019, 0001-9. There are massive blocks of black ink surrounding the source verification sections. The heaviest redactions occur when the documents discuss how the remote viewing data was fused with local Italian wiretaps. There is heavy speculation that the CIA used the psychic data to justify illegal surveillance on thousands of Italian citizens. The theory suggests the psychic data gave the agency a probable cause cover for a massive unauthorized electronic dragnet across the city of Padova. Further speculation suggests the redactions cover the second location. Some historians believe the viewers identified a second Red Brigade cell that was planning an even larger assassination. Speculation suggests the agency chose to let that cell remain active to use them as double agents, redacting the psychic's description to hide a much darker geopolitical game played with Italian extremists. Was the Dozier case a success for remote viewing? This remains one of the most debated hits in history. On January 28, 1982, the Italian NOCS, Special Forces, stormed an apartment in Padova. They found the general exactly where McMoneagle said he would be, in a second-floor apartment above a local supermarket, held in a small room. A quote from Major General Albert Stubblebine: "The information provided by the viewers was instrumental in narrowing our search parameters. While the initial tactical intelligence came from a human source, the search area was established by the remote viewing data weeks in advance. It was a primary operational success." End quote. Despite the hit, skeptics argue that Padova was a known stronghold for the Red Brigades and that a psychic could have made an educated guess. However, the specific detail of the supermarket on the ground floor remains a piece of evidence that defenders of the program say is impossible to dismiss as mere coincidence. The Dozier kidnapping led to a major shift in how the military utilized unconventional intelligence. Technological breakthroughs, biosignal integration. The case led to the development of biomonitoring during search missions, where the viewer's pulse and brainwaves were synced with GPS coordinates to find peaks in psychic clarity. Beacon training. The agency began using human beacons, sending an officer to known location to pull the viewer's mind to a specific city, a technique refined during the frantic weeks of the Dozier search. And multi-viewer consensus. This was the first major mission to use group consensus, where 4 different viewers were used to see if their descriptions of the apartment layout overlapped. General Dozier was rescued without a single shot being fired. The Red Brigades were shattered, and in a small office in Maryland, Joe McMoneagle quietly closed his folder. He had seen the room before the soldiers ever did. Next time on CIA Declassified, we look into the heart of the agency itself. We examine the hunt for the entity. In the 1980s, the CIA knew they had a mole, a foreign agent leaking the crown jewels of American intelligence. They didn't just use counterintelligence. They asked a remote viewer to find a man they couldn't name. We'll look at the Category 1 success, where a viewer described a specific man, his car, and his house in a Virginia suburb, leading the FBI right to his front door. Join us for The Ghost in the Hall. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.